to the You Haven't Seen That podcast. This is Erin.
And this is Josh.
We're recording Hot Fuzz back to back with Shaun of the Dead, but as I mentioned during Shaun of the Dead, we are both a little bit sick and sniffly, so we're trying to behave ourselves, but there's only so much I can do in the edit.
Yeah.
So,
Sniffle.
hang in there. Hot Fuzz.
Yes, Hot Fuzz.
Second of the Cornetto Trilogy.
Yep.
Directed by Edgar Wright, I assume. Written
Yep.
by Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg.
Yep.
Any other major changes on the crew?
Same crew, same everything, just a whole different theme
Yep.
in this movie.
This one is action movies.
Yeah.
And something that I hadn't realized, because like you mentioned in Shaun of the Dead, it's sort of a parody or a send-up of zombie movies, which, like, I have seen a zombie movie, but I haven't seen the important zombie movies. And so, like, there were a couple references that I missed.
Yeah.
With Hot Fuzz, I felt the missing references a lot more.
Okay.
Obviously, they're referencing Point Break and Bad Boys 2. But it occurred to me, I was like, is this spoilers for the movie that we're literally watching? Spoilers on my opinion that I'm about to give you right now. I did not like Hot Fuzz as much as Shaun of the Dead. To me, Shaun of the Dead is like a masterpiece, and Hot Fuzz is merely a good movie. And I wonder if some of that's because, like, I just wasn't picking up the action movie references.
That could be very possible. Yeah, they're parodying a lot of the cop movies, the kind of action police officer, buddy cop, whatever. Also, I want to say he kind of throws in the whole slasher film style with with their
cloaked figures.
Cloaked figure killers.
Oh yeah, and
always there killers there, huh?
Well, they referenced Miss Marple, and so I was like, oh, and a little bit of a murder mystery situation, which, like, that's a classic British genre in its own right.
I'm not always on top on the British, like, culture with their writing as much as you were, because I'm not a Doctor Who or Downton Abbey watcher, but
well, for me, the big thing that I was thinking about is Agatha Christie.
Oh yeah,
because Agatha Christie is like what is it? I think she's still the best-selling writer in English of all time.
She's the writer for that one Detective with the Mustache, right?
Yep, Poirot, and she also wrote Miss Marple, the one that the Andrews reference.
Oh, okay.
And so like, it was much more of a genre mashup this time. And so, like, some of it I think was working for me, but, like, clearly it's referencing those, like, cop movies a lot more, and I haven't seen too many of the cop movies. I think the biggest thing...
That'd be harder to kind of, I think, enjoy this movie if you're not really, like, aware of, like, the references that they're trying to put out there. I mean, I like both movies. Now, to say which one I like the most, I think I lean a little more to Hot Fuzz.
Interesting.
I mean, it's just a little bit more. Just barely a little bit more. I love both movies. And I definitely will say they are probably the best movies that Edgar Wright has done with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Because I feel like Edgar Wright's other movies that aren't with these guys. I mean, I'll talk more about The World's End.
Next week?
Yeah. But his other movies are okay.
Yeah.
And I think he's missing that writing and that teamwork with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. I mean, mostly with Simon Pegg, because I don't know how much input Nick Frost has with any, because he doesn't get any credits with writing and stuff. He's just one of the actors that they work with. But Simon Pegg does a lot of writing, and I think he helped write the one Star Trek movie too, because he's a Star Trek fan as well.
That would be cool if that's true, because honestly, he was Scotty, and I thought he was a very admirable Scotty.
I'm pretty sure he helped write the last one that a lot of people didn't like.
Interesting. But I thought that one was fine.
Which I felt like that was more of a episode of Star Trek than like the previous movies that he's in, because those ones are just like big movie action and J.J. Abrams do all these cool things, but
and I think they were trying to, like, bring people in to Star Trek a little bit more.
That weren't really fans. So
we
got those guys back. We got Simon Pegg playing Nicholas Angel.
Lol.
And we got Nick Frost playing
Butterman is his last name. What's his first name?
Danny Butterman.
Danny.
But there's so many. In Shaun of the Dead, they had a lot of, like, kind of the British actors that were well known over there, and we, like, a lot of the British actors that are, like, I would say, like, top tier A-list that Americans would recognize, like, they're in this movie. And if they weren't top tier at the time of this movie came out in 2007, then they're top tier now. Because, like, Martin Freeman has a quick cameo. Bill Nighy's in here. Joe Cornish.
Who's the guy that plays Skinner? I loved that guy. He was my favorite
Skinner,
character.
that's Timothy Dalton. He's one of the Bonds.
Yes, he is. So, I was like, why do I know your face?
Because he's one of the Bonds. Jim,
he's my favorite character.
Jim Broadbent, he's big British actor. Paddy Considine, he's a big British actor. You know, he's...
Everybody saw Shaun of the Dead. They were like, we want to be in that.
And this one's also crazy too, is the actress that plays Doris Thatcher, which is one of the police officers in the small town. Olivia Colman, she won an Academy Award not that long ago
for The Favorite, right? You're right. I didn't even recognize
The Favorite.
Her face.
Yeah, because she's Queen Anne. Is that what it is?
Yeah. I knew I recognized her, but I wasn't thinking about that. That's crazy talk.
Yeah, Stephen Merchant, like before he's popular, he's in there. The janitor from the Harry Potter movies, he's in this movie. Even Peter Jackson is in it. He's the Santa that stabs.
He's
he's that guy. So they get a lot of like.
That's bananas.
Yeah. Janine, the girlfriend that he breaks up. Do you know who it is?
I am almost positive. Oh my god, give me a second. I'm terrible at names. Hela from Thor Ragnarok is not Kate Winslet. What's her fucking
the other
name?
Kate? Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god, I can do this.
Yep.
I'm right though, right?
Yeah, it's Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett.
Yep.
I love that joke at the beginning where he's like, oh, is it? I think it's Bob that you're dating. She's does Bob look like the kind of guy I'd date?
No, it's Dave.
It's Dave.
Hello there. Yeah.
That was solid jokes.
Yeah. Well, when he's like explaining about it looks like two people in a bloody relationship or something like that. Like that's funny too because it's like it's comparing what their relationship is as well. Like again, we go to like talking about like the writing for like Shaun of the Dead and like writing for this movie. You know, Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. I think most of the writing ideas is coming from Simon Pegg, but it just the story idea is coming from Edgar Wright.
Interesting.
Pegg is probably writing a lot of the
more of the
dialogue and like the jokes and stuff.
It was a lot less relentless than Shaun of the Dead was, though, and that was one of the things that made me not. I don't want to say like I don't like it because I do, and I don't want to say it's a bad movie because it's not.
No.
But to me, Shaun of the Dead is like head and shoulders above Hot Fuzz because Shaun of the Dead, again, the editing is relentless. The sound design is relentless. The framing of every shot, relentless. There's so much information just crammed in to every frame of the movie. It's like this tightly wound switch watch, not only of a script, but of like a shooting script and like the framing and every little piece is working at full capacity. Whereas Hot Fuzz is a good, well-constructed, well-written movie that is not also a Swiss watch.
Yeah. What I'm thinking right now is what you're describing with Shaun of the Dead is like maybe because they probably had a certain budget restraint for Shaun of the Dead with it being like their kind of first movie that they had to be so tight on things. You know, their one best special effect in Shaun of the Dead is, you know, the girl getting impaled. That and then David being torn apart, like you can make that easily. And there's like a special way to like, he's like underneath
a little table
and he's, you know, they're ripping up, you know, stuff. That's easy, and that's all like fake
stuff,
food and stuff like that they're eating and stuff, and then like a little bit of makeup for the zombies. But Hot Fuzz, they got a budget for this one, and they
can tell.
They go all into some special effects. I think we were talking a little bit about the church tower when it falls onto the guy. Like when I saw,
nuts.
I saw this movie in theaters so many times. Also because at the time it came out, I was living in Seattle and I worked at a movie theater, we got this movie, and so I saw it every day because I would have to go in and check the screens and stuff. But
Well, and I bet the effects were like crazy on the big screen.
yeah, I hopefully like they'll do like some kind of anniversary for both of these movies and release them in theaters again. But yeah,
But-
they had a budget, and you definitely can tell. And with the whole action movie stuff, they were definitely trying to go bigger with this movie compared to what they had for Shaun of the Dead.
Something I thought that was very funny is that Shaun of the Dead, again, one of the things that I thought was interesting and that I really enjoyed about it was that it's essentially a zombie movie with no guns. Like, there is the one gun, but it's mostly, this is set in Britain, so there's not really any guns, so it's a zombie movie with no guns. That's very interesting and creative. And in this movie, it's almost like they had like precognition about my opinion of that, and they're like, okay, so this movie's gonna have every
It's gonna have a lot of guns.
It's gonna have a million guns.
Well, because now they're not in London, they're in the country.
They're in the country.
And they make that joke where everyone and their mom has guns in the country.
And then later in the movie,
Yeah.
the guy, he hits his car, and it's like, Mom! And the mom whips out with a fucking shotgun. Yeah, that made me laugh. Yeah, no, I don't want to say that, like, I didn't like it, because I did. It just, like, Shaun of the Dead, to me, was, like, relentless in a way that Hot Fuzz isn't. At the same time, though, like, I think this one did a better job with the editing jokes in particular. Like, the part where Nick Frost's character's name, I've lost it again.
Danny,
thank you.
Butterman.
Where Danny, like, hands the cake in from outside the frame while Simon Pegg is talking. That was funny. Or the part where the two Andrews are, like, leaving the frame, then one of them, like,
one comes back in,
sneaks his head back in.
I always laughed at that. I try to do that. If I walk away or I go around a corner, I'll do that and then come back. And, like, nobody notices. I don't think anybody notices I do it or knows what I'm referencing, because, like...
Well, it's not, real life and film aren't the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's probably kind of similar to the thing that I do in swimming pools, where I'll do the thumbs up right before I, like, sink below the water.
There you go.
That's my T2 reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, like, it had a similar thing where, like, the sound design was really good, the editing was really good, a very relentless kind of edit as well.
Yeah, they stick with doing, like, the same kind of editing where in Shaun of the Dead, Shaun's using the bathroom. They do that with, like, a couple scenes. Like, I think it's the guy that's getting his house blown up. The killer is turning on. Like, he's making the beans. He's turning on that. They do all that and then tell it, blows up. And I like that quick edit where they're watching their cop movies, and he's like, it's about to go off. He pushes it, and then the house. Like, I like those edits. Those are like transition edits that
that make it, like, intertextual. They did a couple of those in Shaun of the
Yep.
Dead too, and I really liked that. Actually, can I say, like, another thing that I thought was really great about this movie, even more than Shaun of the Dead, was I want to cut a fine line here, because, like, in Shaun of the Dead, clearly Shaun and Ed are, like, not, like, romantically into each other, but, like, what they would have, would call, like, a little bit of a bromance. And I was watching that movie thinking to myself, like, this is really interesting, because what is it? There's this whole, like, discourse online about, like, can't two men be friends in a movie without people making it weird and gay and whatever.
Okay.
And I was watching Shaun of the Dead, and I'm like, the bromance is, like, so platonic, and I'm wondering, like, what they were doing to make it so crazy platonic that it never read romantic, even though you could tell, like, these guys are best friends. And I almost want to go back and rewatch both of the movies for this purpose, because they lean more on the romance tropes in Hot Fuzz without ever going over the line.
Yeah.
Where, like, there's a couple parts where, like, right before they go watch the movies, Nick Frost is like, I can show you how, which is, like, such a romance movie line.
Yeah.
But they're obviously playing it for laughs.
Yeah.
Again, I don't have anything, like, necessarily intelligent to say about it, but I thought it was, like, you could almost take notes on this movie and be like, here's how to play, like, a romance angle between two characters as funny instead of serious.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's really interesting about the entire Cornetto trilogy, because, again, it's that whole thing where, like, listen, I'm a hardcore shipper of male characters. You put two men in a movie together, and if there's anything there, I'll ship it. And I don't ship any of these characters in any of the trilogy, because they do such a good job of making the relationships close without ever going over the line. And I wish I knew what that was.
I get what you're saying with this one, because like you see Simon Pegg's character, Nicholas, he loses that relationship. Well, his relationship is his work in this one, and I think the events when he goes out to I think it's Stanford. Yeah, and meets Danny, and going through all that, because really Danny helps him change.
Yeah.
Than anybody else could, and so that relationship, yeah, it definitely becomes this kind of relationship where it's not romantic. It's definitely a very strong, like
strong platonic.
Yeah, and I definitely see what you're saying with also in Shaun of the Dead. Like they have that too, but yeah, it's
they never cross the line, and I think that's so interesting because like it it makes me wonder about like queer baiting and stuff. And like these are not the movies to be talking about queer baiting for reasons I just stated. Like the queer baiting's not there.
No.
If it was there, I would have picked it up. And it's just so interesting that like there are ways to like depict a good healthy is a little bit strong for Shaun of the Dead, but like a good strong relationship between two male characters without like turning it into something
I think
romantic.
If there was like more to the story, I think what you're talking about, like a healthy relationship, I think these two characters would have this healthy relationship, because now they're co-workers. They're probably leading the police department now in Sanford, and they're probably doing a lot of paperwork together. But yeah, I think because like I'll say in my experience, you know, having a best friend, like we've had relationships like that where it's like we're not, you know, romantic with each other, but you know, we have moments where it's like, love you, babe. You know, stuff like jokes like that.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, exactly.
The closeness. Yeah. I'm so curious, like, what the elements are of, like, depicting the closeness without going over.
Yeah.
Because to me, that was so delicately and beautifully done. And I don't know if that's something else that anyone else is necessarily going to notice. I think this comes from, like, my particular weird set of obsessions. But I really liked it. And it really made me smile. Also, I like that in Shaun of the Dead, Shaun is the slightly more put together one, and Nick Frost is, or I should say, Ed is the total disaster. And in Hot Fuzz, it's like Simon Pegg has like overcorrected, and now he's like, he has such a big stick up his butt.
Yeah. I mean, roles kind of change in all these movies for the actors, because even at The World's End.
Oh yeah, that's Simon Pegg's chance to be the disaster.
Yeah, plays, you know, a terrible person. For what I remember in that movie. That movie I've only seen once.
I have officially seen it twice now. Yeah. I saw it once on an airplane and once this afternoon.
So when we get back to that, I'll have to refresh my memory for that movie. But Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, I could watch over and over again.
Oh, absolutely. Hot Fuzz, I really liked as well because from the, I guess, like, harkening back to that thing I was saying about murder mysteries, I was sure when he was saying, like, oh, it's Skinner, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I mean, it was pretty heavily telegraphed. And so it can't be him. Yeah. But also, like, it has to be him. And then it turned out that it was, like, everybody in the town. I thought that was so cool because it really reminded me of Agatha Christie. Are you familiar with, like, the Murder on the Orient Express?
Yeah, I saw the Kenneth
Branagh one?
Yeah, I saw that one.
Murder on the Orient Express is a set of movies that I have actually seen most of, and I have not yet seen an adaptation that I'm happy with, including Kenneth Branagh's one, because everybody shits the bed at the end. I fucking hate the way people end the Murder on the Orient Express. The book is so good, and everybody ruins the ending. Anyway, I'm sorry, this is not Murder on the Orient Express podcast.
It's not that episode. But
it's not that episode. But if you haven't seen, like, maybe like the Peter Ustinov one, I haven't seen that either.
But I see what you're saying. Like, it's probably taking some inspirations from, like, the murder mystery part of this movie. Yeah. About that. Because, like, I remember watching this movie. Yeah, it was definitely like, well, it's definitely Skinner. Because, like, but they're playing it so heavily on, like, the foreshadowing and like the way clues that he talks, that he's like, oh, we bash your head and you'll tell us all kinds of secrets.
Yeah,
and, like, he's being so obvious, and like, and it's so interesting because, like, with Simon Pegg's character Nicholas Angel, like, he's like the cop.
Mm-hmm.
Like
He's
he's
like,
the
he
cop,
reminds
and
me of
so
Javert. He's that severe.
okay, and so when he's picking up these things, because he's telling Nick Frost's character Danny, like, listen, pay attention. There's always things going on, and so that's what he's so used to. And when he's seeing Skinner make these statements, and when he comes by the car accident.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't call it a car accident. It's car collision.
Yeah.
But like when he's there and he's like talking about it, he's like, well, how do you know it's these people that are dead? Blah blah blah. You know, he's already like
He's
putting the pieces
very on
together.
it. Mm-hmm.
Then it finds out like, oh, it's not you.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, we all know it's the collective.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So it is him in some.
but it's
scenarios.
like a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
Very Agatha Christie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually, that was one of the things that I thought was interesting is there's this like almost sub-theme about fascism running through
Yeah.
the whole thing where like, I think the movie is making a pretty strong philosophical statement by calling Nicholas Angel a fascist right from the moment he arrives
Yeah.
in Stanford.
A police state, which is fascism.
Which
so.
is fascism. But I was like, he's being called a fascist by what is essentially like a police state in its own right. Yeah. And it's like, he as a character is very like rigid and almost authoritarian in some ways. Even around the language, like you said, he's very particular about like the way that things are said, and like it has to follow the procedure.
It's police person, or
it's police officer, and like it's not an accident, it's a collision. And,
you know, he's so by the book.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's very interesting then that like it's basically this authoritarian going up against like a bunch of fascists, and then the solution is break the rules and become a vigilante. That part was a little muddled for me. It was very fun to watch. No complaints there. But yeah, I think like some of the accidental theming was perhaps a little weird, especially like in 2026. But at the same time, like it was still really fun and interesting. And I think one of the sweet things I really like about Danny is that like as soon as Nicholas will correct him, he always goes forward with that.
Yeah.
That's so, I don't know. There's something about that that's so sweet. You can see that he is taking to heart the things that Nicholas is like trying to teach him, which is really, really cool. And then in return, Nicholas is like starting to kind of pick up some of the more relaxed vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely like changing, you know, he's not being that kind of, like you were saying, like authority, going more chill guy.
Mm-hmm. When he jokes with, I think her name's Janice at the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
What was that joke? It was a solid joke.
I think it was like gobbling something.
Yeah, or something.
Gobbling too many something. Because they were eating a dessert, and I can't remember what the dessert was. But yeah, it's like, I'm sure you've had a full share of your gobbles or something like
or
that.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not appropriate for the workplace, but very funny. I thought it was really fun and really cute. And God, Timothy Dalton, I can't believe I didn't recognize him. Oh, he's my favorite character. Skinner's so good. And the writing, too. Like, I love that everybody had, like, extremely on-the-nose names. I started writing them down. Got Cocker, Blower, Skinner, obviously Angel.
Yep.
Butterman is pretty on the nose. Like, it was so good. Should I have watched Point Break and Bad Boys 2 first? I do like that they telegraphed the important parts of those movies in the movie so that, like, you would definitely catch the reference. I thought that was really smart. Like, having them watch the movies in the movie so that when you get when the reference happens later, you understand it.
Yeah.
That was really... Yeah. That was cool. I appreciate them throwing me the bone.
I really liked when they were using the clip from Bad Boys 2, and it's like, oh, the shit just got real. Because that's when, it started the seriousness of, like, these accidental deaths start picking up. It was after the guy's house gets blown up. Mm-hmm. And it's like, the movie's telling you at this point, like, we're picking it up now. Mm-hmm. I really liked how they thought of that and using that to kind of transition from, like, the beginning, like, I would say probably the first and then second act and going into the third act.
There were a couple other things too. I was saying that this movie is not as Swiss watchy as Shaun of the Dead, and I stand by that. But there were a couple places where I noticed that they cut things very, very lean. Like, so for example, I was mentioning during our Shaun of the Dead review that normally you'll have planting reminder payoff, and with Shaun of the Dead they give you a plant and then they give you the payoff. There's no reminder. You get 2 beats, and they do that with the ketchup packet in Hot Fuzz, where you get the one where freaking Butterman's doing that stupid joke at the pub, and then they use that for like the death fake out at the end.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. And then another thing I was complimenting Shaun of the Dead for is like the beauty of the edits. And this time the edit that really stood out to me was like when they're spinning the tombola, and then at the same time they're like showing you the spiral staircase up to the top of the church tower. Yeah, so like, again, I really want to make sure that it's clear. Like, I liked Hot Fuzz. I thought it was great. I thought it was well put together. I just like Shaun of the Dead way more.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, they're both really good movies.
They are both really
I
good
think
movies.
One's probably going to resonate more with other people just by like what the subject is, and jokes and references may, resonate with people more. But Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, definitely some of my favorite movies.
Yeah. Something I should have mentioned during Shaun of the Dead that I like about both of the movies is sort of the like postscript, where like at the end of Shaun of the Dead, they show how like society has moved on with zombies being there, some of which are absolutely cuckoo, like the reality TV show game show situation. Also, they got what's his name from Coldplay. How the hell?
Oh yeah.
That was nuts.
Yeah, because they do like a concert, I think, for
Zombade
or something like that.
Zombade, exactly. Yeah. I mean, they show him, what's his name, Chris something.
I can't remember his name.
But they show him like literally for a split second, so fast that even though I am a Coldplay fan, I had to go back and be like after I had watched another like 3 or 4 minutes, I was like, wait a minute, was that the guy from Coldplay? Yeah. And I had to go back and look at it. So like the postscript was really fun. The postscript on Hot Fuzz, I think, was like a little less strong, but it was still fun to see like how things had changed. And I also, oh no, this is like a different thing. This is not technically postscript. This is still part of like the main story, but like it looks like we've defeated the big bad. We're all filling out our paperwork. We're getting along as like as coworkers, and then the guy from the community thing comes out.
Yeah.
And then they blow up the whole station with the giant marine bomb.
Yeah.
And the fake out with Danny dying.
Yeah.
I knew they weren't killing him as soon as they showed the Butterman part of the gravestone without showing the first name. I was like, okay,
this is
his mom. This is clearly
it's a trope.
But I was worried for a second. I was like, oh my god, would they seriously kill him? That would be nuts. I mean, they killed him in Shaun of the Dead, I guess.
Yeah, I think I don't know if they purposely avoided to do that. Like, yeah, we did that last movie, so let's not do the next one.
To me, it was like pretty clearly telegraphed that like it wasn't going to be him. But still, it was cute. I'm not complaining. It was fun.
Definitely more. I think Hot Fuzz has way more violence, bloodshed than Shaun of the Dead.
It's hard to say. Well, maybe.
I mean, you get quite a bit of decapitations.
Yeah, you get 2 decapitations.
You get some blowing up, crispy guys.
Mm-hmm. The lady with the shears.
Oh yeah,
that was
pretty brutal.
Nuts. And the guy, the reporter.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Nuts.
Even their like gunfight throughout the town, like that's pretty intense. And then when Skinner's fall into the, which is funny because he falls onto the church tower, right into this is like kind of the parallel of the demise, because he kept talking about. I wonder if the cloaked person was Skinner.
Yeah.
On that one, because Skinner and Tim Messenger, that's his name. And it's funny, Tim Messenger, and he's a reporter. They were the 2 that were missing, and they were the 2 that won the little drawing. Tombola.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Oh, that is such a good call. I hadn't even noticed that.
Because you also think about like when the review is, it's the whole village. It's all the was it their night watch or whatever they're called, the watch, neighborhood watch. When you find out that it's the whole city people that are doing it, you kind of wonder like, well, who's taking turns as the cloaked figure? going around and murdering people that they disagree about stuff. And it's funny that it's not like, it's really not a super clever plan of what they're doing. It's just, yeah, we just don't want a shopping mall here, or we just, he was a terrible actor, like the I can't remember his name, but the Romeo and Juliet people, like, oh yeah, he ruined Shakespeare. He murdered
Bill Shakespeare.
Bill Shakespeare, so we had to decapitate him because it was horrible.
Yeah, that was.
We just sat 3 hours of supposed acting, and that kiss was the only convincing thing.
Which, yeah.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, no, genuinely, I had such a good time watching it when Simon Pegg's running through the catacombs and the living statue.
Oh yeah, when he finds all the other people, because it's the kids from the pub that were underage drinking.
And
you
the
find
hoodie
them.
kids.
You find them. You find, I think, the guy that stole cookies.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's there. You find the officer that he replaced. He had something that you don't have. A great big bushy beard. You find that guy. I can't remember his name.
I didn't catch that was him. That is such a good call. Oh my god.
Yeah, that was him. And then, the statue guy who's still is a statue. Yes.
And the traveler caravan, that too, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That was, and the fake out where Danny takes him out. Oh, the lighting on that scene too, where they're just being lit by the tail lights.
Yeah.
So really good, beautiful shot choices. Yeah, gorgeous movie.
I definitely think those guys working together, great movies. So before we sign off here, there's 2 other works that these guys have done. So I definitely recommend you checking them out, and if our listeners haven't, definitely check these out. During the same time that Hot Fuzz came out, Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino did the Grindhouse movie, and so that was a kind of homage to 70s exploitation films. Yeah, they asked 3 other directors to do some short films for in between.
I remember hearing about that.
So Edgar Wright did one called Don't. Definitely check it out.
Okay.
We might watch it. Okay. Anyways, it's just a quick one because if you got I think it's only on the complete Grindhouse collection, which has the 2 films. You can watch those. It's their intermission.
Interesting. Okay.
Because it got Rob Zombie's movie, like short film, Edgar Wright's, and then there's Eli Roth's.
Okay.
So definitely check out that. It's just really quick. Probably, I think it's like maybe 3 to 5 minutes long. It's very quick because it's supposed to be a trailer for a movie that's never coming out.
Okay.
Which is funny because they did Machete, but then that movie had 2 movies. Yeah, because it got popular enough.
I was wondering, from my perspective as a person who doesn't watch movies, Machete came out of nowhere, and I was like, why? How do people know about this?
Yeah, that's where it came from.
So much more sense.
Yeah, and then what I thought could have been the 3rd Cornetto Trilogy movie, it's not Edgar Wright directing, but Simon Pegg and Nick Frost did a little alien movie called Paul, and it definitely fits kind of one of these movies a little bit, but it does fall into the tropes of kind of I want to say the Seth Rogen type comedies because Seth Rogen is in it. Okay. I'm just going to look up who directed it. Oh, Greg Motololo. He directed Superbad and some other Seth Rogen. Yeah, he's one of the Seth Rogen type directors. But yeah, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost are friends, always. And they come to the States to go to Comic-Con. And after they do Comic-Con, they go on the Route 66 to go to Area 51, and they meet an alien named Paul. And Paul is very much like Roger from American Dad. Very much. And Paul is voiced by Seth Rogen.
Oh my god.
So I felt like that movie could have been the 3rd Cornetto movie instead of The World's End. Yeah, that's the 2 that I think. But other than that, that's it for me.
So listeners, what do you think? Please share your thoughts with us in the comments. If you want to support this podcast, you can do so by becoming a patron at patreon.com/youhaven'tseen that podcast. Link is in the description. Thanks.
Cool. Let's sign off then. Thank you so much for listening to the You Haven't Seen That podcast. This has been Erin.
And I'm Josh.
And something clever. Have a good night.